folks, Mythic ODM here. There's some big news on Monday from Sigil design lead Andy Collins, and he posted over on LinkedIn. It reads, today, approximately 30 talented developers, 90% of the team, were laid off from the Sigil Virtual Tabletop team at Wizard of the Coast, including yours truly. I'm disappointed that we didn't get to continue working toward the full experience that we had imagined, but happy for the opportunity to work on an intriguing challenge with so many smart and dedicated folks. I wish my former colleagues success in their future endeavors. I'll also be pulling for the crew left behind who will do their best to keep improving and iterating the experience we shipped last month. Now, doing some math, that leaves about 3 to 5 people left on the project. Now, Project Symbol was launched in beta, albeit very, very quietly last month. There was no big announcements, no real big social media posts, no in-depth videos, etc. that normally would go with Wizards doing a big release like the DMG, the Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, all that stuff. Absolutely nothing. It was just kind of silently dropped onto D&D Beyond. One of the statements was it was kind of just kicked out of the tree and kind of left there. Now, let's talk about how we got to where this point is, where it is now, and likely what'll be going to happen with it going forward. So this started when D&D was pretty much at its peak between 2020 and 2023, with the pandemic, being on Stranger Things, Critical Role just having an insane trajectory on social media, and getting it more and more and more mainstream than it ever had been before. Of course, that had the C-suite folks looking to capitalize it, because they saw the players kind of as walking wallets, and Cynthia Williams, the former CEO, said that D&D was under-monetized. Now, when the OGL scandal broke back in 2023, one of the things they tried doing was rewriting the OGL, and they put in a section about the VTTs, and they tried to word it as they were the only ones who were going to have a license for 6th edition or D&D 1 or D&D 5.5, whatever you want to call it. And they were trying to monopolize that this was going to be the only VTT that was going to have it. They're going to try to hamstring all the companies using Wizard of the Coast IP for years. And it left a lot of VTT providers kind of in the lurch. Now, one of the things is there are way too many competitors doing VTTs better. Fantasy Grounds has had the license for 10 plus years. Foundry last year recently was getting official D&D 5e and 5.24, whatever you want to call it, already. And that was kind of already a warning sign of things to come. It threw everyone for a loop when Foundry suddenly announced that they were getting official Dungeons & Dragons content when this VTT was already in the works. They were already touting it. They were already showing alpha video at events. And so it was really odd that that was a step they were taking. Now, there's also Talespire, and they had their Kickstarter out in 2016. I believe they had their launch of their Talespire in alpha, I think in 2019 or 2020. And they've been doing it for many, many years now. And it's a full 3D version with dice rolling and everything else. One of the things that the C-suite is so disconnected from the player group is they just looked at it as like a video game. They thought it was going to be like Baldur's Gate, and nothing will compare to Baldur's Gate ever. I don't care what they come out with. It's going to be very tough to ever match the magic that they captured with Baldur's Gate. Larian Studios was just amazing. And this is something you're probably not going to see again for a very long time. But when it comes to Virtual Tabletop, you don't need players buying in. You need the Dungeon Master to buy in, because the Dungeon Master is the one who's going to organize the games. They're going to push their players to use this VTT. They're going to really be the stewards, be the champions of getting this moving. And that's where a huge problem comes in. When you are asking DMs or game masters to swap systems, that is a huge ask for them. And they need a very, very good reason for a game master to do so. It is still one of the reasons that I run my Pathfinder games in Fantasy Grounds, while most people prefer Foundry. But I have so much costs already tied into Fantasy Grounds. I know the system extremely well, and I can teach it very well to my players. Brand new players are picking up really easy. And that's one of the biggest things, is it has to be better than what is already out there. And looking at the game, sure, it looked whizzy and it looked really nice and the miniatures were really nice and the 3D modeling was very nice, but was it giving everyone a reason to swap to it in droves? The answer is just no. People will stick with what they have because, again, there's a lot of costs involved with switching. A lot of these microtransactions were really worrisome to a lot of the community. You know, they were talking about if you wanted to have a magic sword, you'd have to buy the magic sword to have your character suddenly use like a flaming weapon or something. And that's something that people just were not keen on doing. You cannot just keep nickel and diming people and expect it to go through. Now, the costs for this VTT that Wizards put are likely not recuperable. Estimates are anywhere between $20 and $100 million on development. Now, I would probably say it's close to 30 million, but still, that is a lot of money. Even if there was a subscription plan, and again, only the dungeon masters would be on the subscription plan, and then they would invite their players into it, it's not a big base. They've already stated that 19 million subscribers to D&D Beyond, but they've only created like 3 million 2024 characters, and that's a very, very low uptake. Now, former employees were stating that the executives were really, again, they were banking on this to have all these microtransactions that would bring in as much revenue as Baldur's Gate 3 or Magic the Gathering. Now, seeing as how Magic the Gathering brings in $1 billion a year, that was never going to happen. I'm running a game store and we sell Magic and Pokemon and everything else. And Magic packs are going for like 2 for $85. I know the brand new Magic set coming out, the Final Fantasy, packs are going to be in the $60 to $70 for a pack, a single pack. It's going to be just crazy. There's no amount of volume that this VTT could bring in, even with microtransactions, to bank that much. There's absolutely no way. Now, one of the things to know is like wind downs are inevitable, but laying off 90% of your force while in a very rough beta is beyond alarming. It's not something you do in beta. You would do it when 1.0 launches or the base launches, then you scale your folks back. You don't do it while you've just dropped this stuff out. It just is, it's not what you normally do in project management. Rascal News reports that in an internal message sent to Wizard of the Coast's employees, it said, "Dear team, I want to share an important update regarding Sigil. After several months of alpha testing, we've concluded that our aspirations for Sigil as a larger standalone game with a distinct monetization path will not be realized. As such, we cannot maintain a large development effort and most of the Sigil team will be separated from the company this week. We are, however, proud of what the Sigil team has developed and want to make sure that fans and players on D&D Beyond can use it. To that end, we will transition Sigil to a D&D Beyond feature. We will maintain a small team to sustain Sigil and release products already developed at no additional cost to those moving on. As a result of this decision, we will provide robust support, including severance packages, 2024 bonus, career placement services, and internal opportunities where possible. I want to take this moment to praise the entire Sigil team for their incredible work to deliver this product to our community. One of the things I'm most proud of here at D&D is our strong sense of purpose. We aim to honor our current players while ensuring D&D continues to build connections and bring joy to future generations. And that is what the Sigil team was doing. Although we haven't fully realized our vision for Sigil to scale, the team should be proud of their achievements." So that is the nice way to say, you know, we're going to try turning into more of a video game than a VTT. It's not that kind of game. And they realize that they're just throwing more money behind a very bad idea and they're just dumping it. Rascal goes on and alleges that the development of Sigil was kind of rocked with a lack of clear vision and divisions between Hasbro upper management, who had hoped to treat Sigil again less as a virtual tabletop platform and more of a standalone video game that could have potentially utilized other IP across the toy maker as developers, as well as an internal rift between Sigil's developers and the D&D Beyond team as they developed the map VTT system, with the map folks apparently denying access to the Sigil team to internal D&D Beyond data. So that is, a really bad thing going forward, is when you cannot even get your own data. And you can just see that there was issues going forward. Again, they were looking at the dollar signs. They were thinking everyone was a walking wallet. Anyone who's been around for a while, again, I've been playing since the early 80s. We've seen Wizards of the Coast try in-house technical projects. They ended up having to buy D&D Beyond. It's actually not their website. They bought it from another company that had developed it. They attempted to create a VTT or something kind of similar since 3.5 came out. I mean, they've tried stuff since 4th, and every single time they've tried, it just failed to launch. Wizards is not a digital company. They cannot continue to try to think that they are. They need to leave it to the people who know what they're doing. Also, Wizards of the Coast lackluster 5.24E launch, and it sees a lot of sales declining. There's a lot of bad blood since the OGL. Again, more people are leaving D&D. They're not leaving the tabletop RPG community. They're moving on to other things. I've moved on to Pathfinder. People are looking at DC 20. They're looking at MCDM Draw Steel, Cosmere. So many other things are coming down the pipe. And D&D, even though it will always be the juggernaut, it is going to be something that is just going to slowly but steadily push back into being a little more obscure. Sure, it's going to get a push during Stranger Things, but this just shows that they need to stop trying to screw around with this and just do what they do best, which is try to make a game. So it looks like this glorious 3D VTT is quite dead. It's going to limp through on D&D Beyond, and eventually it's just going to stop working. When updates are just no longer pushed, there is a point where they're just going to say enough is enough. It is what it is, and eventually it's going to become abandoned. That's it for me today, and I'll see you all in the next video. If you're enjoying the content and want to see more, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications, and leave a comment below about your thoughts on the Wizards of the Coast VTT. Did you ever think it was going to get out of beta, or do you think it's just going to end up becoming abandonware in a couple of years? Or just leave your favorite emoji and hit share to help this video in the infamous YouTube algorithm. Perhaps join my Patreon or hit that YouTube membership. Both provide exclusive channels in my Discord, amongst other perks, which I am working on. But in the meantime and in between time, may all your games be full of myth, mirth, and magic. Bye for now.